Hello, it is Bethany from the Everyday Army Wife, and today I thought I would make a video on homeschooling. If you have been following my channel at all, you know that homeschooling is one of the things that I said I was going to cover on my channel, and yet I only had one video last year from homeschooling. And the reason why is last year was our first year homeschooling, and it was not what I had imagined in my head it was going to be. So today I thought I'd kind of go over a couple of big points of why we chose to homeschool, how our first year homeschooling went, what all we tried, tips that I would recommend for new homeschoolers, and are we going to homeschool next year? So I even made my little notes here, so that's what I'm looking down at. Okay, so why did we choose to homeschool? As you know, we are a military family, and so we move around a lot compared to others, I suppose, and transitions are hard. And so we had noticed that due to just unforeseen circumstances, we ended up having to transition our oldest too many times in a matter of one calendar year. And the transitions were just too much, and he was just getting too worked up having to learn a new school, a new teacher, their new expectations. And so one of the big factors were if we homeschooled him, we have many more years in the military, and so if we homeschooled, that would be one less transition for our boys that they would have to do. The other thing is that we noticed, again, partly because of the transitions, but each school had different expectations, and we found that the communication wasn't happening, so we didn't even realize that there were issues at school because, you know, notes never came home. They never really brought them to our attention at conferences. His grades looked about average, and so we never really thought anything was wrong until after the fact, until we brought him home to homeschool, did we realize that there were some significant gaps in his education. And I mean, honestly, I would have never known, because everybody said that he was on track to go to the next grade. He was doing great. If he was struggling, he would catch up. And you know, maybe they're right. Maybe he would. I don't know. I like the fact that at such a young age, I can work with him so that he's not hating school. We pulled my oldest out when he was in kindergarten, and he was hating school, crying, didn't want to go to school, crying because he had homework. And in kindergarten, kids should not be crying for school. School should be fun, exciting. It should be the foundation that just really lights them up to want to finish, to go 13 more years of school. I didn't want that to be his experience. So those are some of the big reasons why we homeschool. We also like the flexibility of it. We can take, as any other military family knows, a lot of times your spouse does not get the luxury of taking Christmas break off or getting spring vacation off. So we can now work around his schedule, and when he can take time off, we can take time off too. If we have family coming in to visit us, we can take that week off, and it's not a big deal. So like, just those things alone really made us fall in love with the idea of homeschooling. Okay, so let's get down to how last year went. There was lots of trial and error. My youngest never went to public school, never went to school. He was always home with me, never went to really daycare. So I knew exactly what he knew and where his starting point was. So he was easy to figure out and easy to get going. My oldest one, I essentially had to guess what he knew and guess what he struggled on and guess what subjects were not his high points. And so it was a lot of trial and error for everybody. There was a lot of days where we just had to be willing to be okay to walk away. So some days homeschool just wasn't going to happen. The boys didn't feel like doing schoolwork. I didn't feel like fighting, and we just had to be okay with, okay, tomorrow we will make it up. And I mean, yes, you could be like, oh, that's not okay, you can't do that every time, but I promise you, in public school, there's days that just learning just doesn't happen. The kids are too distracted, they're distracting each other, and not every kid is going to learn the concept the first time around in public school either. So it's okay, it's just part of school. The other thing is like, sometimes we had to go and be okay with not doing the actual worksheets. Sometimes the kids didn't want to do, you know, the page of math, and so instead we played a game that did math instead. Or they didn't want to do the worksheet about history, and so instead I found, you know, a YouTube or a documentary for us to watch. So I found just a different way to be learning. The other thing, which was a huge transition for us, was just being used to being around each other. You know, when your kids go to public school, they're gone Monday through Friday from 8 to 3. And if they're home with you, that's a big transition just to get used to everybody being around. So that was another thing that we had to learn last year, is just to be around each other. And it actually, I mean, now after we're done with the year, I don't know what I would do if my kids weren't around. I mean, everything I do, they're there. Everywhere we go together. And I mean, it's just a part of life. They're very well behaved. We've all figured out our spots in roles we have within the family, and you know, we just kind of make it work. Of course, there's not every day is perfect. Yes, we still have our meltdowns. Yes, we decide not to go anywhere. Yes, it's not all rainbows all of the time. The other thing is we spent a lot of our school year last year what a lot of homeschoolers call deschooling, which means just being. We're not doing schoolwork, we're not pushing the education, we're not doing any of that. We're just being at home and doing fun things instead. We deschooled a couple of months from public school just because my oldest he was just really shut down. He was upset, he was angry, and so we just took a lot of time to just learn to like school again. Then we had a lot of curriculum that we tried and it didn't work, and so after each failed curriculum we kind of just spent some time deschooling again so that the kids didn't feel pushed into the next one. And that's one thing that you just have to be okay with. The first year of homeschooling, you're not going to get it all 100% the first time around. It's a learning curve for the kids, it's a learning curve for you, and not every curriculum is going to fit for every kid. And so you just have to be willing to try something different if it's not working. And that was one thing I did last year, is if we had too many fits and too many meltdowns, we just walked away. So let's get into what curriculum we tried last year. So at the beginning of the year, we had a setup, and I just said it a second ago, but I want to reiterate that these are amazing curriculums that we tried last year. It's just they didn't fit for our specific family and what my children specifically needed. I talked to many homeschoolers here in this area, and these are some of the ones I still recommend to people. These are the ones that I recommend to new homeschoolers and where to start here, because they are very easy to grab and just open and go. So the first one we did with the boys was the curriculum called The Good and the Beautiful. If you have not used it, it really is. It's beautiful. And there's just so much in just one book that it is an all-included curriculum. So we did language arts and math for each of the boys. And last year, we had a first grader, and then we technically had a preschooler, kind of beginning of kindergarten. So he just kind of went along with the flow. We quickly found that The Good and the Beautiful moved too quick. The language arts was too advanced, and I couldn't take him back far enough without him really feeling too defeated, I guess I should say. So that one was not a good fit for my oldest. Again, my youngest, he was just learning how to do letters and recognizing sounds. So that curriculum worked well for him. He did the pre-K. He did language arts pre-K, and then he worked into primer, and those worked great. The Good and the Beautiful is not based off of grade, and so level 1 is not first grade. Level 1 is just level 1, and so my son didn't like the fact that he had to start in level K, which I could understand the confusion, but it is very advanced, and he didn't like having to do something that said K on it when he was in first grade. So we worked through that one for a couple of months, and then we went on to master books. And I got the entire kindergarten and first grade curriculum for master books. I will say that one of the good things that I really liked about master books was the price. It was very cheap, very easy to just grab all of the books they needed for the year and not feel like I was dropping a extensive amount of money. Let's see, the thing that didn't work with master books for us did not last long. I don't even think we stuck with it for a month. It was just, the kids didn't like all of the extra story time style within the math and language arts that it had. They don't mind reading books and stories, but these were more like, they tried to make up a story for math so that the kids could relate it and learn from it. And they kind of, I think one of the children's character names is Charlie, I think. And so throughout the entire math curriculum, you're taking Charlie on your adventures, and you learn more and you read more about his story, which is awesome, and it's cute and it's adorable. My kids did not. My kids didn't like it. They hated it. Looking back, I probably wish I just would have skipped the story and gone with just doing the math problems. Again, it was my first year just trying to figure it out, and my hardest lesson was learning to make the curriculum work for me and me not working for the curriculum. So that was one of the lessons we learned in these curriculums. So I quickly got rid of master books, and we moved on to Gather Round Homeschool. Gather Round is a unit study homeschool curriculum, and the concept is a family unit, and so you can teach all of your grades with the same subject. Each grade, well, it's not grade, it's kind of like elementary, middle school, high school. I think they have 4 different levels, I think, if I remember right. But each level is based off of their abilities. And so I actually still really like, again, like I said, I like all of them. So my thought was for Gather Round Homeschool was more of using it as a supplement or a gap. Like this past summer, we actually did the North American birds, and the kids really liked it. We started on oceans, and they really enjoyed that one as well. There's so much information. This curriculum is done very well. They have so many videos to go alongside of it, so it is a very rich curriculum. I have a couple of good friends that are using it, and that is their main curriculum, and like I said, it is really great. It's just where my kids are, I felt like it wasn't the fit for our family for our full-time curriculum. All right, so tips for new homeschoolers. My biggest thing is find a group. So whether it be an actual co-op in your area or just a couple homeschoolers, find some people that are homeschooling like you that you can meet up with once a week and interact with, your kids can play with, and you can bounce your ideas and struggles off of each other. My next point kind of goes with that, but within your group, find a mentor. Find somebody that's been homeschooling for years and has, done it, has had struggles with different kids, and some kids were early readers, some were late readers, some loved math, some hated math. Find a mentor that can help you through what your child is struggling with, what you're struggling to teach, and that they can help you work through it and solve it, so that you still feel confident that you can do this, because you really can. These curriculums are made to really, a lot of these are open and go. Let's see. My other big tip is, if all else fails, go to YouTube. Somebody has made a video about it. Somebody has had the same struggle. Somebody knows about the same problem. So go to YouTube. All of the curriculums that you're ever considering has a video about them. They have a review, they have an opening and unboxing. So, and you can even search in that curriculum and the grade that you're going to do it. And 99% of the curriculum has a video already. So, the final bullet of the video, because it's getting sunny and my coffee is getting hot in the sun. Will we be homeschooling this coming year? Yes, absolutely, definitely, 100%. We are still going to be homeschooling. My goal is to make more videos about our homeschool adventure this year and kind of be more transparent about our struggles and being willing to show people that it's not all Instagram worthy, I guess. We are excited. We have found a curriculum we did about a month's worth of this curriculum at the end of last year, and we all loved it, and we are going to continue on, and we are exclusively using this curriculum this coming school year. And so we really have fallen in love with homeschooling and how flexible it really is, how much my kids have thrived, how much our family has bonded together because we are around each other a lot more. And so yes, we will continue to homeschool, and we are going to actually kick off this year with Sunlight. So we will be doing Sunlight Level K with my kindergartner and first grader, and then they will each be doing their own appropriate language arts and math, but the main studies will be done together. So please make sure to come back and check out my channel. I will be doing a future video on the Sunlight Science K, since that just got released, and a video on how I am going to be teaching a kindergartner and second grader with Sunlight this year. And I think I'm going to do a video on how I have this year organized, because I'm kind of excited and I really hope it's going to be a good fit for us. So thanks for stopping by my channel. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you know when the new videos come up.